Hey guys, welcome back to the Living Life Unfiltered podcast. I'm joined again with the amazing Becca. Honestly, here we have a very exciting announcement. So, I decided I wanted another person to be with me.
A little co-host action.
Exactly. So, Becca's so sorry. Becca's joining us, so she will be in every episode, hopefully, in the new year. So, yeah, also, okay, we're out at like a coffee shop and it's really echoey, so like we have to talk really close to the mic. So just so you know, okay? You're like, what are they doing? Stop.
Don't be like that, okay?
Okay, so also, just kind of getting into it, I posted a thing on my Instagram, or the podcast Instagram. It's like asking you guys what questions you had for this podcast, and you guys gave me some questions, so we will be answering those. So we're gonna pull them up super fast. We'll answer.
Minus 30 seconds. For the internet. Hey, I have a question now. What are you drinking?
For me,
Not drugs. Guys, drinking like beverage.
I got a candy cane white. It's actually so fire. What did you get, Becca?
I got a chai tea latte because I don't drink coffee. No, I don't really drink caffeine. I don't drink energy drinks. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink soda. I don't drink caffeine.
That's gonna be so good.
Okay. These renal glands.
That's okay.
Okay, so the first question, are we telling them who it's from? We're anonymous? Okay. The first question is, have you ever lived life unfiltered? Have you ever lived life filtered? Filtered.
Do you want to answer or do you want me to answer?
You go first. Yeah.
I want to hold it. So I think I've definitely gone through seasons, again, like my sophomore year. No, okay, I'm gonna go on a little tangent and then I'll answer it officially. But like my sophomore year, I literally just learned so much about myself. And I thought back and I was like my mental health was good and like everything was good and I learned so much. But I also had so much to learn just about who I am as a person and who I wanted to be as a person. And I just hadn't really figured that out. And so just thinking back, I'm like, wow, I was just really trying to figure it out. So I would say in middle school and honestly my sophomore year, I lived my life very filtered. And like I think it's definitely depending on who I was with, especially. But like, yeah, it was just very, if it wasn't cool, I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would drop things that I really liked to do and all this stuff, hang out with people I didn't really like, but just because they were like cool. Yeah. And there were some really amazing people last year in middle school and stuff, but like, yeah, I don't know. So it's just like, it's taken a lot of time to get out of that, but like, yeah, and I think I honestly started this podcast too as a challenge for myself to live life unfiltered and live life as my true, genuine self, and honestly to challenge the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Like why live life filtered? Unfiltered is so much better.
Yeah.
Everyone, and I feel like in this generation, you are able to do that a lot easier than it has been before, which is amazing. But anyways, that's my answer. What about you, Becca?
Dude, I love that. And I would just so wholeheartedly agree. I think that we just all hit seasons where we are living more filtered than other seasons because I think that, like, naturally, like, we want to be selected, right? Like, I even think there's probably some psychology to it where it's like deeply, we all want to be known and valued.
100%.
And if that means blending or changing things about ourselves, we do it. I would say my season of that was definitely like early middle school and like late elementary. Some of you guys know, but I have a lot of siblings. I have 7. And so my like doing things and not doing things didn't really Like, I didn't really have an issue with, like, peers as much as I did, like, my own family.
Really?
Yeah, and there was just, like, a lot of, like, well, this person was successful, so the way that they were successful is the only recipe to be successful. And so we've just been, like, I don't know, I had to break a lot of those, like, barriers, even just, like, in my own head, and then also, like, with, just, yeah. Yeah. So that's my personal answer.
Yeah, I love that so much because seriously, like, yeah. I feel like it depends on the people and just your mental state and and where you are in finding yourself, you know? And it takes time. I feel like in high school and middle school especially, it takes a lot of time because you're so new to life and you don't know what's happening. Anyways, okay, what's the next question?
That was a really good question, by the way. I love that. Super. Okay, the next question is, this is kind of just a silly one. Me and Jacqueline are both theater nerds. So, okay, so the next question is, because we're both theater nerds, is what is your favorite show you've been in? And then I'm going to extend the question for myself and, like, what's your favorite role you've ever had? Guys, I feel like this is really important. There's two types of good shows. There's a good community show, and then you put on a good show. So you have to clarify which one it is for you.
I'll do both. So my favorite community one and my favorite show. I think my favorite community show would be Mary Poppins. So I've done Mary Poppins 3 times. So it was my second time doing it. I was in 7th grade. I know. I was a little baby. And I loved it so much. And the community just saved me. I was going through a really hard time in my life and it just saved me.
Okay, my favorite.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I just said, oh my gosh, I love.
Kids, you want to go next?
No, I'll do my favorite community show. Okay, my favorite community show was Frozen Junior. So Frozen Junior, I was the dance captain, and I think that allowed me to do a couple of fun, like, events that we hadn't done in a couple of years. Or, this is gonna be surprising, what did we do after? Not Newsies. We did Mary Poppins, not Mary Poppins. Wait, maybe Mary Poppins. Wait, what was the show? Do you after Mary Poppins? High School Musical, maybe?
Yeah.
And then, what's after? Beauty and the Beast.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it was definitely Mary Poppins or Frozen Junior, personally.
Okay, I would say my favorite just show overall. I've done Newsies twice, and each time I loved it so much. Because I feel like it's just such a good show, and it was just amazing. Yeah. And then our favorite. Oh wait, you go.
Oh, okay. My favorite show that I've ever done, just like put on, was definitely Newsies or Joseph. We did Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is like a rendition of the biblical story of Joseph and his brothers. And I think that, like, the final product on stage looked really good. And I think the final product of Newsies also looked really good. But I couldn't tell you which one was better.
Seriously. My favorite role? I don't know. Oh, I was Mary Poppins. And I think it was the first time. I was a little baby, but like I loved being Mary Poppins. And then I honestly say, so I was just in Newsies. And I was like a Manhattan Newsie, like one of the dancing Newsies. My favorite role. I had the best time.
And she was so good. I went to go see it, and she was literally the only person I was watching. Thank you.
Thank you so much. No, I had like the best time. Honestly, that was such a great community show. The directors were amazing. My choreographer, amazing. Assistant choreographer, just amazing. The director, so sweet. Just loved them all. Shout out to you all if you're listening. I don't know if you are, but
Shout out.
what about you?
What about me? My favorite, is this just like, which one's this one? I'm sorry. Got confused. Show. Roll. Oh. Okay. Controversial opinion. I think that my favorite role was ensemble. Yeah, so if you don't know, I was a lead once, twice, maybe 3 times. No, you're good. You're totally fine. No, you're welcome. Yes, please feel free. We can even move it.
We can stop if you want to. Okay.
My favorite. Okay, so my favorite was definitely ensemble, and I think my favorite role to dance in. I was always dancing ensemble because duh. And then when you get typecasted every single year, but you love it. Yeah, I definitely liked the Little Mermaid dance core because we were lit, honestly.
The Little Mermaid was such a good show. I love that show. I came to like the cast party actually. They snuck me in.
Delaney.
I think it was Mateo and Jazzy. It was Mateo and Jazzy. They're my favorite people. Okay, what's the next question, guys?
The next question for us today is going to be la 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 la.
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay. Should we do this one? Okay. This is how to deal with crash outs in a responsible way. For example, like if you get a bad grade or like you fail an assignment or something.
Cry.
I have coping mechanism.
Just cry. Talk to your teacher about it, honestly. Like, that's what I do. I talk to my teachers somewhat.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I feel like they can help you on it. And there's usually test corrections that you can do. So maybe seeing if you can get that. And, I don't know, the crash out part, that's the crying. You just cry. You feel the feelings. You deal with the consequences, I guess. But school's rough sometimes.
Okay, so as somebody who's graduated high school, I feel like my recommendation is just to like, before you freak out, which I know is really hard, just take a break for a second and like talk to a trusted person. Like I talk to my mom. Like if I'm coming towards the end of the season and it looks like I'm not going to pass a class or I'm not going to end with the grade that I want or whatever, like I talk to somebody else about it who's not connected at all. And we make like a little plan. Because sometimes there are ways to salvage it. Like if you're only 3 weeks in and you fail like a huge test, like that's okay. You can like make it up. Like there's enough points throughout the rest of the semester. You'll be fine. You just know you need to put more effort into that class because it's harder. But like let's say it's like your midterm or like a huge paper presentation. My recommendation is to just like literally what Jacqueline said, talk to your teacher. Like they're people, they know you're a person, like believe it or not. And usually they're more than happy to work with people who recognize that they're not succeeding, I feel like. I don't know. I cried in front of my college professor and she gave me a better grade, so I don't know. I'm not even kidding, y'all. But like some teachers aren't that sympathetic, and so like, yeah. But also like just be realistic. Like if you haven't been working the entire semester and you think you're gonna pass the class, like you're stupid. Love ya. But like if you genuinely work hard and like a pretty good student, haven't caused like issues and stuff, like just talk to your teacher. They're happy to work with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. She covered that pretty well, actually. All right. What is the next one?
This one is. Sorry, guys. My screen time limit went off. Hold, please. Okay, the next question is, what are your plans after high school? If you have plans after high school.
Oh, I'm just gonna tell you my 2 plans. So I have 2 of them. So basically, I would love to like. Oh, I love people.
We saw somebody we know.
We got excited. Oh my gosh. Okay.
2 plans.
2 plans. So basically,
Plan A.
plan A would be my dream route. And so I think I'm gonna continue, hopefully, to do social media and stuff. Because I love it, and I think God told me. That feels stupid sentence, but like, I feel like the Lord has just really been like, no, you're gonna do this. You're gonna do it. Anyways, yeah.
Plan B.
Oh wait, no, I'm not done with plan A. Trust.
Oh.
My bad. So basically, I think I'm going to, if everything works out, I want to like perform professionally and do dance professionally. Hopefully, move to New York and just do dance and maybe Broadway, all that stuff. And plan B is the law school.
Law school?
Mm-hmm.
I have a face too. I love that idea. It'd be good.
Thank you. No, yeah, I love law and all that stuff, and I think it's so fascinating. I love to argue.
It's a good characteristic for law, I think.
Me too. So yeah, I don't know, kind of whatever the Lord has for my life. I just want to do something I love. That's all I know. Okay, you're out of high school.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is a little confusing, so I'll explain it. So I'm technically out of high school, but in Colorado, the state has decided that they believe that they want more kids to have accessibility to college. And so one of the things that they do is they provide some sort of like extra year after your 4 years of high school to stay enrolled as a high school student under the state. And then you get to get your college credit paid for. So that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah. So last year, I technically graduated in May 2025, but I didn't receive my diploma. So my diploma is being withheld until May 2025 instead of May 2024. But I like walked for graduation. I did like all the like last things because why would I want to do that anymore? I had to. Love school. Don't get me wrong. And so yeah, basically we just I've been in like an extra year of college, and I'll finish this year an associate's in communication, and then phlebotomy certification is what I'm doing this year. And then for the next couple of years, I think I'm being called to go to school. It would only take me about 3 years to go get a master's. So I think that's where we're heading, but only the Lord knows, guys. But I definitely think college is in the picture, which is funny because if you had asked me 4 years ago, I'd have laughed in your face. I'd have been like, college? Have you met me? But I do love learning and I love school, so yeah. That's my plans after high school.
Well, that's sick. I love that. Okay, next question. What is it?
What's the best and worst part of high school?
Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm trying to think. Do you have anything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you go first.
All right, guys, I have to be so honest with you. I adore school. It's taken a long time to get there, but we did. We rallied. And a little scared. I don't want them to be able to like. Okay. Silly geese. Oh wait, I think it's still recording. Bless the Lord. Is that good? Okay. Yeah, and so in a lot of ways, I just think that my favorite part of high school was and this is going to sound so silly, but it was just like realizing how much life there is outside of school, and that learning can be interesting and still be like a joyful experience. Like, yeah, and like, obviously there's skills you learn and stuff, but like, I feel like the biggest point of like going to high school is like figuring out what interests you so you can expand further on that. And like, without high school, I would have never even considered going to college. You know, like, if it was left to middle school me, I would have, and I quote, lived on the roof with Santa. So, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, being able to just, like, notice, like, things. Like, I got to go shadow a guidance counselor one year, like, in a school. So she was, like, she worked in an elementary school, and, like, I got to go be with her on a day where she was, like, pulling kids out, like, having lunch with kids, etc. And then, like, one day I got to go to court with a lawyer, and, like, all these, like, crazy things where you're like, oh my god, who does that? Wait, that's a job? And then I'd say the worst part about school is, like, trying to figure out your identity with other people who are trying to figure out their identity. That's the hardest part. Not, like, the worst part, but it's just really hard. Because, like, I don't know, maybe you guys can, like, agree with this, but, like, sometimes when I'm socializing with people who are, like, already fully developed in the frontal lobe, it feels easier to be myself because they have an idea of who they are. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't need to be this way in order for this group to feel complete. Like, I don't need to balance anything out. But, like, when you're all trying to figure it out, it feels like there's a lot of missing pieces. And then, like, obviously friend groups are hard, too, so.
Those are really good things. So one thing about me is school has always been so challenging for me. Like, I have ADHD and dyslexic, so it's just been really challenging for me. You know, I have a hard time sitting still, and just, like, I can't, hard time reading, like, all that stuff. You know, and, like, I can do it, and I work hard, but it just takes time, you know, so I've always loved the social parts, and kind of, like, I love, like, prom, winter formal, and, like, homecoming, like, that's my thing, and, like, the people I get to meet, and just the opportunities I get to do. Like, I love camp, like, I'll just go there, and that's what makes me feel so alive, and just going on school trips, like, I love that aspect of it, and that's honestly been so amazing, and I've loved it so much. And then I'd say the worst part is, you know, like you said, like, obviously, just, like, nobody quite knows who they are yet, and, like, that's just, it makes it kind of challenging, of course, and then I say also too, like, the drama is really hard. Like, the amount of drama and rumors I've had to kind of deal with has been a lot, you know, and I'm very thankful for those situations because they've taught me so much. But it's just, like, I don't know, it makes it really hard. Worrying about what other people think too is definitely a big thing that happens, that I've, like, realized, like, because I work with, like, a bunch of, like, older people who are, like, in college and stuff, and they're just so much more sure about themselves, and it's just so nice. Okay, anyways. We got scared again. Okay, go.
I think I answered all the questions. Oh, and just for Tori, because I love her face, how much do you love your wife? 1.5 million. At least. Times 47. That's all the questions.
Right. Yeah, so that's all the questions we have for you today. So I think we're gonna dive into the topic. Do you want to introduce the topic?
All right, guys. Today we're going to talk about stereotyping in Christian circles and atmospheres. Now, if you know me and Jacqueline, we could talk about this for at least 7 years. At least. But we just got about half an hour, so we're gonna really crank it out for you guys. So what do you feel like are some stereotypes that you've encountered, just like being a Christian, and like what do people expect of you?
I feel like kind of what I've run into is I have to be perfect. and I have to be this goody goody who doesn't do anything, like who doesn't cuss, doesn't listen to rap, all this stuff, like, and then also being judged so much by that stereotype. And if I'm not that, then like, what are you doing? Like, why are you like this? You're not a real Christian. And honestly, like, I know I've shared my story on here. That's what brought me away from Christianity and stuff. And I'm trying to think. Where was I going with this? I got distracted. Yeah, go for it.
I'm so sorry. This is a non sequitur, which means it does not pertain to anything we've been talking about. But since we're like out in public, people keep walking in and out of the door and giving us looks like this. Which is fine, because I would also look at somebody like that if they were podcasting in a coffee shop. However, we're just a little bit anxious. So just so you guys know that we're not. Like if I look over there and I say hi, like I'm not being mean. There's people walking in the door. Okay, anyways, thanks. Okay. I really had to.
Seriously. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, okay. So stereotypes, and just like, it wasn't until I learned that, like, faith isn't a religion. It's a relationship. Like, religion has nothing to do with it. It's not a set of rules that you follow. It's like your just relationship with God. And you'll hear us talk all the time about our conversations with God and how funny we think He is. But like, seriously, He is a master comedian. And it's just more like that. Like, we just talk to Him, and just learning to love Him and then live out what He wants. Okay, you talk now.
Okay. I'd have to agree with a lot of that. I feel like a lot of stereotyping that comes into play, specifically in like Christian circles, often has to do with like, it's gonna sound, not to wave any crazy flag. Oh Lord, are you but just like a lot of it has to do with like how women or how they're supposed to act like in this perfect world. And I just think that it doesn't leave or lend itself to a lot of grace. I don't know, maybe you can agree with this, but like in a lot of circles, I've found that something people have an issue with is that I'm very opinionated. And guys, let me mind you, I grew up in a house with a very strong woman. My mother is a strong woman. My grandmother is a strong woman. My sister is a strong woman. The people who raised me are strong women. And so, in our house, we definitely grew up with the like, if you have questions, ask. If you don't get an answer, find the answer. If you have something to say, like it matters and it's important, and so then I started getting older, and like sometimes I don't know, it's just like they're like, hey, you're supposed to sit and be quiet. Hey, actually, you're not supposed to have opinions, and it's like don't get me wrong, like I think there is like balance to it all. Like I don't think you should be a loudmouth, and I don't think that you should like use your words to hurt other people or be quick to talk or, but it's been very interesting, like going into the young adult world. Yeah, I don't know. And then of course you also have the stereotypes of like, oh, well, you're a Christian, so you can't do that. And it's like, well, I mean,
only Jesus gets to tell me what I can and cannot do. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, sorry. Guys, I'm so bad at talking into the mic. You're going to see this whole video, Jacqueline's just like, Becca talking to me.
I'm not going to hear you. You have to pick. It's okay.
We'll get there, I promise.
We're still newbies. It's going to be a little ghetto for a minute. Anyways, okay. What else? Yeah, so you go.
All right. Okay, so just kind of like on the same vein of like walking through these, like, what are things that you use or like things that you think to help kind of negate the negativity when it comes. Does it make sense?
I think just remembering how much God loves me and how much I love him and how much faith has saved my life. And also remembering there's a verse, I don't remember where it is. It talks about how, like, because we love Jesus, the world will hate us.
Oh, persecution. Keep going.
Okay, she's gonna find it. And I feel like that's such a surreal thing, and it really sucks when it happens. And, I always get scared sometimes, like, to talk about my faith in front of certain people, but I'm also like, Jesus is coming back soon, and I would rather be uncomfortable for 4 seconds than have this person not be saved, because faith is just like a mustard seed, and it will grow, so I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, it's just kind of knowing, like, no, this is just part of it. And, like, I honestly have had so much joy with Jesus. I wouldn't want to do anything without it just because somebody doesn't like me because of my faith.
That's so good and so true. The Bible verse that she may or may not be referring to, but also relates, is Matthew 5, verse 10. So if you want to flip there, you can, or if you want to scroll there, I guess that's an option too. And this is in the Sermon on the Mount. Yeah, me and Jacqueline love Sermon on the Mount. And this verse just says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And just exactly like reiterating what Jacqueline said, is it's like, it doesn't matter what we face here on this earth. It doesn't compare to the treasures we're going to hold in heaven. And so our uncomfortability or our persecution is like, our, like, affliction, like when people hate us or people don't like us or when they tell us things that aren't kind in any sort of way. Like, it's like, but we have our sights set on a bigger thing, a better thing.
And another thing I really wanted to talk about too is that you don't have to be this quote unquote goody to be a believer. Like, if you've talked to us, we're not the quote unquote goody goodies at all. But we still love the Lord so much. And honestly, what I found is you just have to say yes. Be like, okay, like I'm okay with this journey. And honestly, he will meet you where you're at. And if you've listened to, like, my testimony or anything, that was a big thing that happened, is he met me where I was at. And now I'm starting a podcast that's all to do with Jesus, which if you told me a year ago that I'd be doing this, I'd laugh at your face. And that I asked for a Bible for my birthday, I would laugh in my face, be like, no. So, and I feel like it's your journey. It's not the stereotype. It's not what you think a Christian is. It's what your relationship with God is. And honestly, it's the craziest thing ever. You can hate the Christians with all your heart, but then, like, when you experience it, you're going to look back a year later and be like, I'm doing what I hated. Yeah. Anyways, okay.
That's so good. And just, like, adding to it, Jacqueline, like, I'm struggling with the story, but there's a story in the Bible. It's a parable. God taught in parables because they were just easier to digest to large groups. And it's this parable about how God didn't die just for the righteous people. He died for the sinners. Like, something me and one of my good friends, we always say is, like, God asked a tax collector to be a disciple. A tax collector, respectfully, guys. I don't know if you guys know who collects our taxes. That's the government. I would never ask them to be my disciple. Like, thank the Lord I'm not God and not Jesus. But like if God can, like, look at people who have leprosy and heal, if God can, see people who are so broken in spirit and say, like, hey, no, like, I've chosen to seek out relationship with you, like, it's so worth it. it's so worth it. And like, he doesn't care that you come with baggage, and he doesn't care that there's like stories that you're ashamed of, and he doesn't, like, he's not scared, like he so desires you that it doesn't even phase him in any sort of way. And then just like lastly with that, like that's so much freedom in that. And you guys haven't heard my testimony. Well, I don't think they've heard my testimony yet. I think that's next. But like, you guys will notice, like, I'm not the most perfect person. Like, I do curse, and like I do struggle with, watching my tongue and like things like this. And as a young adult, like, I'm figuring out what does it mean to love Jesus, but like also not just segregate from everyone else in the entire world, like, and like, how do I stay in relationships with people who aren't believing the same thing that I'm believing for, and like, all these things. And so like we're not perfect, and it literally just comes down to love. He loves you enough that it doesn't matter. And that if you're struggling like with anxiety or depression or drugs or abuse or anything like that, like any of those like really hard things, like, it's okay. Like, God sees you, he loves you, and he doesn't care. Like, well, no, he does care that they're like you're doing it, like, and that it's happening, but like he doesn't, like, it's not going to stop him from being in relationship with you if those things are issues.
I think this will be our last little note because we have to go. But yes, we got it, guys. Bro, I forgot what I was gonna say. Do you have anything you want to say while I think about what I was gonna say?
Yes, I'd love to. This is a non-sequitur. You guys already learned that word. I did my nails. And if you guys didn't know, I do Gel X nails, and they're really cute. So I did red nails, and then on my ring finger, I have a wreath, and on my middle finger, I have a bow with a gem on it, and I hand paint them, and they're really cute. Look. Thank you.
Okay, anyways, on our last note, I just want you guys to really just explore for yourself too, and take your time on it, and like too, like, it's never people.
It fell out of my mouth.
Oh, we're too chaotic for this. Okay, that was hilarious. For reference, if you didn't see that, coffee just spewed out of her mouth, but it's okay. Anyways, so basically, take your time on it, and once you like join like the faith and family, because it's a family, honestly, your church family, you don't just have to hang out with Christians. Like, we're actually called to go hang out with those who maybe aren't as popular, who are maybe just need to be loved, so just explore it and take your time on it. God's got you. Like, he has a plan for your life.
Yeah.
And he sees you, and he loves you, and he knows you, and it may not make sense right now what you're going through, and you're like, God, I don't know what's going on. Just literally be so honest with him. I've like literally like screamed at him.
Same.
It sounds so bad, but I have. Just like, excuse me, like, Lord, why is this happening? What is going on? And he gives you an answer, and he loves your honesty. Like, he just wants the good, the bad, and the ugly, which takes time to learn, but it's true. So anyways, that's our last point. Becca, you can say something if you want. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess our just huge takeaway from this is like, just be honest and be yourself with God, because it's just more favorable. It is. It'll make your relationship with him, in my personal opinion, easier. It'll make it more worth it. So, yeah. Alrighty, guys.
Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the new year.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Happy 2025, everybody.
Happy New Year!
Okay, well, go follow our Instagrams, go follow the podcast Instagram, all that stuff. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What is happening?
I think it's because it's an iPad, so it works.
Okay, yeah. Well, if you saw that, there was a lot of fireworks and all that stuff. Anyways. Okay, well, do you have any last words, Becca?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, bye. Have a great New Year's.